Wonderful sponsors. I don't know if you just saw the news, but average U.S. household debt just hit $152,000. That's mortgages, cars, cards, student loans, but the national debt just hit $37 trillion. It's all going up. Ask yourself this: when the system hiccups, who bails you out? It's not the Fed, not the politicians, and that's why I own gold. Gold doesn't need a CEO, doesn't need missed earnings, it doesn't freeze your account on a Friday at 4:59. While they print, gold just sits there doing what it's done for thousands of years. Store value. If you're done playing musical chairs with your savings, get something real in your hand.
Monroe Center in downtown Grand Rapids. We're talking about what matters most to you in West Michigan. Join the conversation now at 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on Wood Radio.
The latest from CENTCOM, the big presser that just took place in the Pentagon, and Secretary of War Pete Hegseth on the way. We'll give you the updates on what you may have missed. Plus, big filing day yesterday. It was tax day. Not normally a day that most folks look forward to when you're dealing with taxes. Lots of folks got lots of money back this year, and it's all because of Trump and the one big beautiful bill. So we'll talk about that, even be joined by somebody in the Treasury, and maybe see if we can speed your refund up.
News, weather, and traffic. And the biggest stories of the day. We're talking about what matters most in West Michigan and beyond. This is the Big Three. Now, today's Big Three.
Yeah, the stories that matter most. We'll be talking about these around the water cooler dinner table, no matter where you are. Our Big Three. Always powered by our good friends at Heartland Home Mortgage. Dave Galloway and the team, ready to help you, whether it's buy, refi, home equity, line of credit, you name it. Dave's got it. They'll take care of you, and they've got a heart of a teacher. They're faster, they're better, they're bigger than the big banks. That's why we love them, because we save thousands each and every time we've worked with them. We bought our home, refinanced it, home equity, line of credit, and Dave and the team always take great care of us and everyone who listens to this program, too.
Number one.
Speaking of saving money, well, we've got big news. It's massive. Criminal referrals. The DNI, Tulsi Gabbard, issuing criminal referrals to the DOJ targeting the whistleblower and ex-intelligence community IG, Michael Atkinson, over the 2019 Trump impeachment. She says declassified documents prove they manufactured a false narrative. They were looking, and this should be no surprise to you or me, anyone paying attention. She says these declassified documents prove they manufactured this false narrative or secondhand info to oust the president. Obviously, they couldn't get him on Russia, so they went all in on this one. And
Tulsi Gabbard is doing a great job. Where's Tulsi?
They got the Jewish.
She took a lot of heat 2 days ago because she went in at Pam's insistence. She went in and she looked at votes that want to be checked out.
By the way, that's a whole nother thing that folks want to see action on. Of course,
Number two.
it will. Time will only tell how all of this plays out. But yesterday, speaking of the war in Iran and how things play out, the S&P 500 just closed at an all-time record high. What does it do today? We'll find out after President Trump gaining maximum leverage over the Strait of Hormuz, watching that closing bell yesterday, and lots of folks, I think some of the panicans still hanging on, clutching, clinging to the thought maybe they can panic, black pill, doom or gloom. But folks, when you look at the reality and the facts, in fact, we'll hear from some of those pieces of Secretary of War coming up in a little bit. It's a different situation. A lot of cautious optimism. Another big historic day on Wall Street. Tax day yesterday. Speaking of historic, 53 million Americans took advantage of at least one of those new big, beautiful bill tax deductions. The president and the Department of Treasury talking about that, and folks in Congress very happy about. Was your refund bigger this year than it was last year? Chances are you're one of those big 53 million group. Now, maybe you owed taxes, and you're not as happy this year. I understand. There's some folks, obviously businesses and things like that. You're dealing with some other issues, but a lot of this money. See, the good news is it goes right back into the economy. That's what they'll fail to tell you. First of all, you'd be hard pressed to see mainstream media cover this today. I just doubt they're going to cover good news, particularly when it comes to something like this. And then the follow-up on it is what happens when that money gets interjected right back into the economy. Because that's about to happen too. It juice things back up in the right way. All right, we'll talk with somebody from the Treasury coming up in just a little bit. If you have questions, try and get those answered for you. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth answered some just moments ago as well. Some of those highlights coming up too.
Call Justin now at 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. West Michigan Live with Justin Barclay on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
A direct message sent to Iran. This is what Secretary of War Pete Hegseth had to say just moments ago, live from the Pentagon as that press conference.
He continues to implement an ironclad blockade and ensures that our forces are maximally postured to restart combat operations should this new Iranian regime choose poorly and not agree to a deal. And that is what we urge this morning, that this new Iranian regime choose wisely. Which is where we'll start with a message to Iran's military leadership, to the KH leadership and IRGC leadership. We're watching you. Our capabilities are not the same, our military and yours. Remember, this is not a fair fight. And we know what military assets you are moving and where you are moving them to. While you are digging out, which is exactly what you're doing, digging out of bombed out and devastated facilities, we are only getting stronger. You are digging out your remaining launchers and missiles with no ability to replace them. You have no defense industry, no ability to replenish your offensive or defensive capabilities. You only have what you have. You know that, and we know that. You can move things around, but you can't actually rebuild. You can dig out for now, but you can't reconstitute. But we can. We are reloading with more power than ever before, and better intelligence, even more importantly, better intelligence than ever before, as you expose yourself with your movement to our watchful eye.
Secretary of War Pete Hegseth warning those folks as the blockade seems to be really effective right now. 0 ships have broken it. That's according to CENTCOM, and it's starting to take a massive toll. In fact, we're going to see and hear in the coming days, economically, the war that is happening on Iran, trying to get them to the table. In fact, they're talking about that right now. The talks are underway to get back for a second round in Pakistan. Here's what he said about Secretary of Treasury.
Secretary Scott Bessent and our friends over at Treasury are launching Operation Economic Fury as well, maximizing economic pressure across the entirety of the government. To Iran, choose wisely.
We have heard massive stories about the massive inflation that Iran is undertaking right now, and it is it's bad. It was just as bad, days ago when the media was sort of lying about. They've been a lot of the stories that have come out have been sort of. Let me just say. I don't want to say completely. Some of it has been fabricated. Some of it has been certainly leaning towards almost like apologetic for the Iranian regime, which has been interesting to watch too. It's almost borderline propaganda. Hegseth sort of lashing out against those folks in the fake news.
Choosing wisely. A note to the press corps, to the American media. As I just can't help but notice the endless stream of garbage, the relentlessly negative coverage, you cannot resist peddling. Despite the historic and important success of this effort and the success of our troops, sometimes it's hard to figure out what side some of you are actually on.
That's damning. But also, I see what he's saying. I see why he's saying it. But why is this? That's a great question. Why? Why is this happening? What's really going on? And let me break it down for you in terms that I understand. Some of them, yes, hate. They just hate the idea that America ever was great. But forget the fact that Trump wants to make it great again. Not only do they hate that idea, but they actually hate Trump and everything he stands for. They hate any sort of progress. They hate any sort of moving us back in the right direction. They hate it. They absolutely hate it. They're opposed. So, yes, they're working actively to aid the enemy. They don't ever thought America was great. They never thought America could be great again. They don't envision that. They don't see it. So that's part of it. Then there's another part. There are sort of like the useful idiot side of this, where they will just print the same things, go along with other people or whatever other people are saying. And then there's this part where, unfortunately, I call it sort of the greedy part. Some of the influencers, some of these news organizations, they'll print and put up negative headlines just because if it bleeds, it leads. And they've been doing this since the beginning of time. But so you got 24 hours to fill on a network. And when it comes to social media and blogs and everything else, I mean, it's endless. It's not just 24 hours. Back in the day, just newspapers, maybe had a couple a day, maybe had 2 different newspapers a day. So you had to be a little more cautious. But at the same time, you saw yellow journalism, you saw same sort of greed. You saw people try to sell newspapers back in the day. So it's all of this is none of this is new. Like it's old as time. But at the same time, you have this bombardment now that it just never stops. You don't ever shut it off. And people are constantly looking at the phone. And they're constantly trying to get the latest updates. And so that's why you're seeing some of the things that are just outright, straight up, complete falsities, lies, speculation. Some of it they know. And of course, they write the headlines because they know the headline is what drives people to click, et cetera. And the headline may not even have anything to do with any reality, what's happening on the ground. So that's part of what we're watching play out. And yes, I do think I do think you're going to see more crackdown on that. You're going to see more backlash as people begin to sort of wake up and say, no, we want the truth. Just give it to us straight. And at the same time, the algorithm is going to ramp it up and push all of this at you. If you ever feel down, if you ever feel like, oh, it's too much, feel free to take a break, even from this show. I would love that you're here, love that you stay informed, but at the end of the day, we need you healthy. We need you engaged in the process. And a lot of this is part of it's unfortunately part of a strategy to get you to disengage, to get you to throw in the towel, to feel hopeless, to feel helpless. That's what some of this, unfortunately, is. It is a form of warfare. Psychological, yeah, there's a spiritual component as well, but that's what we're facing. And we have. Ever since, it goes all the way back to the Soviet Union days. I mean, they've been trying to run, and they've been running these campaigns for a long, long time against the Americans. And lots of people, unfortunately, even smart people, falling for it these days. Some of the podcast crew these days. And look, we'll talk about some of these issues a little bit more in depth later today. I'll give you a chance to join the program if you like. Want to get you on if you have a question, comment, concern, complaint, take a number. We gave you a chance to weigh in. 616-774-2424. The news you won't hear anywhere else. Certainly the context, the perspective you've got to get. Michigan and beyond. So let's do that. Let's check in with some of those big stories that you won't hear anywhere else around the state with our good friends at the Midwestern in just moments. Give you a chance to join in the program on the Talkback features on the iHeartRadio app. Click that microphone and sound off. It's West Michigan Live. We're just getting started. The fastest hour in radio is well underway on News Radio 1300 and 106.9 FM. Good morning, folks.
Here are your headlines from the Midwesterner this Thursday, April 16th. I'm Robin Kaufman. It's a Midwesterner.news original story. Former U.S. Representative Mike Rogers, candidate for Senate, says the working families' tax cuts are a game changer for Michigan. Rogers says when you have leaders who put the American people first, America wins, Michigan wins. It's great news for Michigan taxpayers. Turns out refunds here in Michigan average at just over $3,500 more since the big beautiful bill tax cuts took effect this season, thanks to President Trump. The average Michigan refund is close to $500 more than last year. And Secretary of State Democrat Jocelyn Benson thinks she can fix what fellow Democrat Gretchen Whitmer did not in her 2 terms as governor. Benson taking to her X page writing, "Black maternal health has been a priority for me, and as governor, I'll treat it like the crisis it is." For these stories and more, visit The Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
Save big money on everything.
All right, folks, full speed ahead. I'll say good morning to a few people hanging out today. We thank you for being here with us, the locals, VIPs hanging out, Patriot D, Mando, Mark, Lifer in the house. We thank you so much, Patriot D. Hemi, got something for you guys, too. Gritter, you too. I also have fireside chat updates and questions, so stick around today, and maybe I could get some of this taken care of during the show after the show. I'm wondering, maybe I get the show after the show, the remnants. Maybe I can get you a little feedback from you coming up. It's always better to owe taxes than to get refunded. Well, that's for sure. And that might be why, because you get your money faster. You hang on to it. Otherwise, it's like a zero interest loan to the government. But that might be why the Secretary of the Treasury has come out and said, hey, you need to make some changes to get a little bit more money back in your pocket this year. So we'll talk about what he said coming up here in a second. And good point there, Grits. Hang on 1 second. We got Tree Frog, Such a Time as This, Jen Lynn, Tennyson, History Diggers, Steve Moore. Thank you, guys. BKWV, thank you so much for being here with us today over on the Rumbles. Rumble. Did I say Jen Lynn yet? Well, I just did. How about that? Tom, good to see you. Sean, the Bookers in the house today. Tammy, Deanne, Laura, Jason, Jessica, Mike, Corinne, Mary, Tammy. Good to see you again in Virginia. Very cool. And so many others. Sherry, good to see you too, Bunny. Thank you so much, folks. Hang on 1 second. Back on the air in just a moment. Stand by.
Don't demand easy. Put yourself through some hardships, and you will come out on the other side a happier, more fulfilled, healthier person.
Listen to 2% on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and search 2%. That's TWO% to start listening.
Setwood Radio is a preset now on our iHeartRadio app. Powered by Michigan Auto Law. Auto accident attorneys. Visit autolaw.com.
That's autolaw.com.
The Secretary of Treasury is recommending you do something special so you get more money back in your check after tax day yesterday. He made this announcement and some people kind of raised an eyebrow. Oh? Well, see if we can get into that coming up with someone from the Treasury Department coming up this morning, a little bit after the bottom of the hour news, about 9:36. Right here on News Radio 1300 1069 FM. Let's thank our good friends, the folks Kevin Yoder and the folks at seniorsmoothmove.com. Kevin Yoder Real Estate Team at LPT Realty have started this brand new project. It's called seniorsmoothmove.com. Now, if you or maybe you're someone you love, like me, I got my parents, my folks are in this. And right now, walking through all of this, you lived in a home for years. My parents have been in this home before I was even. I mean, years and years and years. Starting to wonder whether it still fits your life. You got the stairs, you got the this and the that, and you got all this stuff to take care of. Well, this seminar Kevin's putting on is perfect for you. April 22nd, it's a little less than a week from today, Kentwood Library, a free educational seminar focused on downsizing. He's developed the seniorsmoothmove.com just for folks like you in this boat to help people walk through this season of life. Kevin's the best when it comes to anything buying or selling your home. The guy is like no other. And I will tell you, so many of friends and people I know have used him throughout the years to help get their home sold. And when you are in this season of life, it matters more than ever that you get top dollar. So whether you're considering a condo, maintenance-free living, or assisted living, you'll learn what your home may be worth, and more importantly, how to build a clear transition path. Go to smoothmoveseminar.com. That's smoothmoveseminar.com. Register for your tickets. The seating is limited. It is free, but smoothmoveseminar.com, so they know you're coming and can make sure that you have a ticket for next week. Smoothmoveseminar.com. Do it today and make sure that you are set up for success when you enter this next season of life. It is so important as you move things along. Speaking of moving things along, so when we come back, Secretary of the Treasury made that big statement yesterday about what you should do when it comes to putting a little bit more money back in your pocket. And over on the chat, Gritter said, it's better to owe money to the government than it is to get a refund, because he says, essentially, if you think about this, when you get a refund, you're making an interest-free loan to the government. Turns out the Secretary of the Treasury actually agrees. Now, I don't know that I've ever heard anything like that before, but it is interesting. He wants more of your money, hard-earned dollars, in your pocket. And you may want to hear what he's got to say on this. We'll talk about it coming up in just moments. Plus, we may get a little bit of information, some insight into what's happening with the economic war on Iran and more coming up after this on West Michigan Live.
FYI, like literally, it's West Michigan Live with Justin Barclay on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Get daily reminders to.
Okay. Mark, I can't remember the last time I got a refund. Well, the child tax credit thing was huge this year. I think they added, and we said, was it the Midwesterner that had that story? Yeah, we just aired it. Michigan refunds on average over $3,500 more after the one big beautiful bill tax cuts. The average Michigan refund is nearly $500 more than in 25. Michigan taxpayers are collecting an average of more than $3,500. Thanks to the one big beautiful bill signed into law by President Donald Trump last year. IRS data shows the average refund of $3,508, outpacing the national average of $3,400, up 11% from 2025. Though averages vary by income, in Michigan, the average refund for folks making less than $50,000 is $2,634, while it's $3,123 for Michiganders earning $50,000 to $100,000. Those with incomes between $100,000 and $200,000 are receiving an average refund of $4,823, according to an analysis from Upgraded Points. Interesting information. So we'll get comments on that. Plus, we want to talk about that. The other thing that I noticed going through the paperwork and whatnot, filing, was that they talked about the Trump fund. So this $1,000 account you could set up for your kids, which I thought was really fascinating too. That's another interesting piece of it. Luke, I think it's Pettit, Treasury's Assistant Secretary for Financial Institutions, joining us in just a second. Hang on. Adam, can you just confirm how to pronounce his last name? Okay. That's what I thought. Thank you. All right. Good deal. Okay. What else is going on? first of all, and we do have some good news. We'll get into the latest good news here in just a second. The crash out continues. There's some new video that's come out. Man, some people I don't understand. The delusion is so strong. Sorry, I just read something that I was trying to understand what was said, and you should see some of the messages I get. You may have even sent me one. Anyway, delusion is strong. It's the influencers. There's a few people, and you know what's interesting? Not only is the delusion strong on these individuals, but they are strongly delusional about the influence that they have. Apparently, according to the latest polls, which is kind of I know I'm talking in code here, but I'll try and if I can, I'll try and walk through some of that coming up here in just a second. All right, Pope Leo has a new post 47 minutes ago. Woe to those who manipulate religion and the very name of God for their own military, economic, and political gain, dragging that which is sacred into darkness and filth. And then there's a link, Apostolic Journey to Cameroon, meeting for peace with the community of Bamenda. I don't know what we're supposed to. Is that like one of those subtweets, like where it's kind of vague and it's like, hey, you know who I'm talking about? Is this about Trump? Is it about something else? It doesn't seem to me that the Pope in the position of coming out. And by the way, if you think this guy's sitting there sending out his own tweets, you got something else coming. There is somebody tweeting for this guy. I'm sure of it. When you become the Pope, that's what happens. Now, you might think, and when you become president, that's the same thing that happens. Trump actually sending out his own, wherever he is, on the throne or someplace else. That's a whole nother story. But man, I'm sure people are going to be talking about that. I got to dig into that before I spend a little more time, because there was a link. Here's what I'll just show you what it looks. This is what the link looks like. Apostolic Journey to Cameroon, meeting for peace with the community of Bamenda. So it might be about this, but I don't know. Again, we're supposed to think that it's about Trump. Either way, I'm sure that's part of it. What you're watching now is political. That's unfortunate. And he's essentially saying, woe to people doing the exact same thing that he's doing. That's the best way I can say it. I don't know any other way to put this. All right, let me take a break. We'll get into this. When I say take a break, I mean get back on the air. We're watching the behind-the-scenes live stream right now. Thank you for being here with us. Number one. Number two, if you can, click share. Thank you so much for taking the time to do that. Help us break the algorithm over on Facebook, Twitter, X, Rumble, Letters.
Advisory services offered through Talent Private Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Hey, it's Glenn Beck, and you're listening to West Michigan Live with our good friend, Justin Barclay. The Glenn Beck program coming up at 10 on Wood Radio.
Big breaking news this moment.
Comes in at 26.7. No minus there. That's 2.5 times what we expected. We're looking for a number around 10. Empire yesterday was quite strong as well. 26.7. Wow. That would be the best level since January of 25, since Jan of 25. Really have to go back. And I know that, Joe, you've been paying very close attention and talking to many of the people on the Hill about what's going on with manufacturing. Many believe, we're not really making an impact. It's a long runway to actually bring it onshore. But what we have noticed is the last jobs report, we've seen a pickup of manufacturing jobs. We've seen Empire, Philly. Now, I know in many ways this is anecdotal, but, that's the way many big issues start, as anecdotal evidence. So we want to pay close attention to that.
There you have the latest news coming out of, that's a Philadelphia Fed, with the story that the index was just crushed estimates. CNBC 2.5 times what we expected. American manufacturing on fire. Yesterday, big day with the S&P hitting fresh record days. Wall Street continues a strong week. Another big headline. We have lots of green on the screen watching things play out. We got two things. We got what's coming here happening back at home with President Trump and the move to bring manufacturing back. And then you've got what's happening overseas. And obviously with Iran, want to talk about a few of those things. And also something that I noticed when going through filing everything, there was talk about the Trump fund. So let's get into some of those conversations and more this morning. Welcome into the program, Luke Pettit, who's Treasury Assistant Secretary for Financial Institutions. Appreciate you taking the time to be here with us. And wow, what a big day. We found out yesterday, 53 million Americans took advantage of at least one of those deductions from the One Big Beautiful Bill from the president. And of course, we found here in Michigan, the headline, Michigan refunds average over $3,500 more after One Big Beautiful Bill tax cuts. So lots of people are seeing the effects and maybe a little happier than hungover normally on a day after tax day.
Yeah, that's right. Average refunds across the country were $3,400, which is up 11% year over year. So it's more take-home pay and money back to American families, workers, and small businesses. So good stats coming out of this tax refund season for sure.
It is. It's great to see because, again, that money going right back probably into the system or maybe even into investments. One of those I want to ask you about because it was right there in the questionnaire and the paperwork about those $1,000 Trump accounts. I want to get to that. And there's a question about what the secretary said about what you should be doing, particularly right now, with your money to put a little bit more money back in your pocket when it comes to taxes. So we'll get to that next. But first, those Trump accounts, which lots of folks are very excited about.
Yeah, so I think people in the tax filing season were able to either through their online tax preparers or through their regular filing process in the Form 4547 see, I think, the first official direct communication around how to sign up for these accounts. And, tracing back to the Working Families Tax Cuts bill last summer, these Trump accounts were created to allow every children in America to have a slice of the American dream, to have a part of the economy, and to learn about investing, about compounding, about diversification, and really plan for their financial future. So it's an exciting prospect. It's something that we here at Treasury have been tasked with helping roll out. And there's a lot of work being done, but we're truly excited about the transformational nature of this program here.
Because it really is. I mean, it's something that I think a lot of people have had exposure to, but it is learning that process of the investing, starting those kids out young and giving them that foundation of what that looks like. That's pretty big for a lot of folks.
Yeah, it's huge. And I think that there are a lot of people trying to diminish the importance of the program by saying, hey, it's just $1,000. It really isn't that impactful. But even that $1,000 without any additional contributions, compounding over time, it turns into a significant sum. That's nearly $250,000 at age 55 based on past returns. So, and that is, I think, just the beginning of it, because what these accounts are going to be doing is giving every child a touch point to their own investment account and to learn about, chipping away at building a big retirement savings. And even if it's small contributions every month, this could be really transformational for the financial livelihoods of many Americans here. Back to taxes and particularly tax on tips. One of the no tax on tips, one of the big pieces. Here's a waitress in Florida talking about how much it's helped her.
It's made a very big difference in my life. I've added a lot of money for me. I was able to send my grandson some money. I get to live my life a little easier. I can eat better. Life is just so much more better because I have extra money in my pocket at the end of the day. It's made
There's so many people that are
really just singing those praises, particularly in that case. But also, there was a direct message, if we understand this correctly, from the secretary to encourage American taxpayers to do something that would put more money back in the
I want to encourage everyone out there watching today to change their withholding if they haven't already done so, because if you change your withholding, then you will get an automatic real wage increase, be it on a weekly or a monthly basis, and you will be able to keep more of your money this calendar year.
Can you explain that? That might be something that's a surprise for some.
The Secretary, I think, might have some comments further on this, so I'll let him give that context. But I think at the end of the day, there's a helpful rephrasing of what these tax cuts were, why it was so important for Republicans in Congress and the president to get the working families tax cuts passed last year. And I think it's to kind of shift the framing from being a one-time tax refund to seeing the benefits on an ongoing basis. But I think the Secretary might have some more context for you that I might not be able to provide at this moment, unfortunately.
Okay, no, that's all right. We'll look into it. Luke Pettit, Treasury's Assistant Secretary for Financial Institutions, and again, one of the comments made this morning, in fact, was the Secretary of War talking about how what's happening in Iran will take a little bit of a shift, and we'll see some economic pressure even more on the way with what's happening, and the Secretary of Treasury involved in that as well.
Secretary Scott Bessent and our friends over at Treasury are launching Operation Economic Fury as well, maximizing economic pressure across the entirety of the government. To Iran, choose wisely.
Yeah, this is another big piece of what we're watching, trying to get them to come to the table, get these talks underway, and we could see some massive action soon, as they're saying the next couple of days. Maybe the talks will resume.
Yeah, we're focused here on Treasury on the duties that we've been assigned here in the building, and I think there's a lot. We're working across the administration with our partners. The Secretary of Treasury, Secretary of War, and all the other cabinet members speak pretty regularly on a lot of issues pertaining to the economy. So I'll let them kind of speak for the current engagements overseas, but we're focused here on delivering for the American people on all matters economic here.
Let's let folks know, last but not least, if they want to know how to set up one of those Trump accounts for their kids, how does that work, Luke? As folks are now maybe sitting with a bunch of, maybe they didn't do it as they were walking through the paperwork, but they've got some of those refunds coming through and maybe think to themselves, now's the time to do this.
Yeah, so I would point everybody to trumpaccounts.gov. It's a beautiful website created by the National Design Studio and Joe Gebbia, the founder of Airbnb. That has all the resources you need, from information, a lot of the frequently asked questions, and it also has a link to the portal in which you can sign up, get a notice in advance of an app rollout, a broader website rollout that's coming here in the next few months. So there's a lot of news to come. Excited about it here at Treasury, and I really think it's an important initiative here for American people and children of our country.
And last but not least, we did have some questions about some of the folks here said, "Hey, how do I speed up my my return?" My refund.
I'll take that one back to the team.
Yes, they're on the way. Maybe Luke will put in a good word for you. Hey, thank you, sir. I appreciate you taking the time to be here with us. As always, welcome back anytime.
Thanks for having me.
You got it. Absolutely. Yeah. More on this coming up, folks. Don't go anywhere. We got, like I said, the fastest hour on radio flying right on by. And more breaking news. It's just coming in right now. Let's try to break in with the latest from the newsroom. Stand by here. We've got news we want to get to you.
Thank you, Dave. Back with that and more in
Here are
minutes.
your headlines from the Midwesterner this Thursday, April 16th. I'm Robin Kaufman. The Michigan House of Representatives passing legislation requiring a more robust identification process for individuals registering to vote for the first time. House Bill 4765 would require proof of citizenship during voter registration, which proponents argue will reinforce election integrity and ensure that only U.S. citizens vote in Michigan elections. Former U.S. Representative Mike Rogers, candidate for Senate, says the working families tax cuts are a game changer for Michigan. Rogers, a Republican, says when you have leaders who put the American people first, America wins and Michigan wins. And Secretary of State Democrat Jocelyn Benson thinks she can fix what fellow Democrat Gretchen Whitmer did not in her 2 terms as governor. Benson taking to her X page writing, "Black maternal health has been a priority for me, and as governor, I'll treat it like the crisis it is." For these stories and more, visit the Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
Running a small business means...
All right, sorry you guys missed that. We usually mute the newsroom so you don't have to hear the news when we're in the news breaks. So that button wasn't pushed. But let me just tell you what he said. They had breaking news: evacuate immediately south of the Croton Dam along the Muskegon River in Newaygo County. They're having those flooding issues there. They've got a warning out to evacuate immediately south of the Croton Dam along the Muskegon River in Newaygo County. Okay. We're going to get back into the show. Yeah, the rain is not stopping. Well, it looks like it may stop a little bit later on today. Shelly, God love you. You're so negative about everything, even the Trump accounts. She's like, well, so much for the kids born before 2025. I don't know what to tell you. I can't help you. I got kids born before 2025 too. It's like, no matter what they do. Actually, it kind of reminds me of our kids. My wife was saying it the other day. She goes, nothing's ever good enough. She kind of like laughing because the kids, we take them here, we take them there, we do this, we do that. It's like nothing's ever good enough. Oh, goodness. Oh, God love you. All right. I will pray. In fact, there's some other folks we got to pray for today. I'll explain during the after show. Golly. Oh, never a dull moment, folks. Never a dull moment. At least we can laugh about it. Right? I mean, we can. Not everybody does, but we can. Okay, stand by. Okay, Dave's going to have another update top of the hour on the evacuation. All right, stand by. Here we go. Got to get back on there. About 45 seconds to do that. We got some time. All right. Good. Hey, do you want to do another update? Yeah, let's do a quick one.
Accident attorneys. Visit Autolaw.com.
That's Autolaw.com.
Got an after show coming up, the show after the show. Never a dull moment. So much happening. We'll try and make sure we get to it all. Big breaking news update. First, the Good Feet Store. Thanks to the folks for powering this program today and every day at the Good Feet Store. Comfort, confidence. You shouldn't have to sacrifice those things that you want to do, whether it's work or play. The Good Feet Store can help you today. 28th Street, right in front of Costco, or in Portage on Westnedge in front of Kohl's.
This is a breaking news alert from the Wood Radio Newsroom.
Right, back to the newsroom quickly because we want to make sure we get this information out to you, Dave, with the latest Dave Wheaton.
Good morning. Get out now. That's the word from the Newaygo County Emergency Services folks for everybody along the Muskegon River south of the Croton Dam. They say water levels continue to climb. Rain continues to come down. Newaygo County Emergency Services issued the warning at about 9:30 this morning with the message, evacuate now. They say that if you stay, emergency services will not be able to help you as several roads are washed out. Again, if you are south of the Croton Dam, along the Muskegon River, they tell you to evacuate immediately. If you do not, they will not be able to help you. We'll give you more information as soon as it becomes available.
All right, Dave, I know we've got a little bit more rain coming through today, but it does seem like it's going to stop. What's that forecast look like in the next day or two?
Well, I had a chance. We were looking at talking to Matt Kirkwood earlier this morning. He says that rain will stop a little bit later on this afternoon into this evening. Tomorrow, we're good. No rain is planned for tomorrow, but Friday night into Saturday morning, we've got, and most of Saturday, we're looking at more rain coming there.
All right. Awesome. Thank you for the latest. We'll keep you up to date. And obviously, another big issue. He's going to get to the news. Again, I know he's got to get prepared for that. And coming up, top of the hour, he'll have more. But again, that reminder to evacuate immediately. The warning south of the Croton Dam along the Muskegon River in Newaygo County, in those areas as we see flooding becoming an issue for folks with all the rain we've had and the storms here this last week. Evacuate now. Those river levels continue to rise. Newaygo County officials are warning as we speak. So there you have it. An evacuation center, by the way, has been set up at the Newaygo County Commission on Aging building located at 93 South Gibb Street in White Cloud. Neighbors can call 911 for emergencies or 211 for general support if they need that help. Flooding concerns as waters continue to rise around West Michigan, including Newaygo County, according to the latest reports. All right. Got to, if we can, I want to squeeze a few more things in here if I can before the show's up. And I know we never have enough time, but folks, when we're talking about things like flooding evacuations, those are the most important. They take precedent. We're going to make sure we get those out to folks. Obviously, they are, you got lives on the line. They are the most important piece of the puzzle here. But I wanted, speaking of lives on the line and emergency scenarios, to give you maybe a little bit of a chuckle and a smile this morning before. I know it's a tough thing to joke about, but before we go, let's make sure you at least hear this story. A 91-year-old grandmother missed her daily check-in calls. You know, when they get to be that age, you check, you call, you stop by, you make sure she's got all the help she needs. 91 years old. So the family requested a welfare check. Police showed up. What did they find? Might be shocking, a little surprising. In fact, it might make you smile. Might even make you laugh some.
Scary situation in Westlake yesterday. Police and the family of a 91-year-old woman unable to get a hold of her. But officers never could have imagined what they were about to find when they went to check things out. Our Scott Knoll explains.
Westlake police at the home of a 91-year-old woman Thursday night.
783, garage doors open. We're gonna make entry.
Police, her family, all unable to get a hold of the homeowner.
And vehicles in the garage.
The woman, a part of the city's Are You OK program. This time, another woman not answering the call.
Everyone's a little bit alarmed that she was missing these contacts.
What would police find this time?
Westlake police!
To protect the woman's identity, police didn't release any more of that video. But what happens next, no one would have guessed.
Turned out to be all okay. Everyone got a good laugh out of it.
Police found her all right in her room. We'll let the officers called to dispatch explain the rest.
Listen to this. It's 911.
We're here with her now. She's playing video games in her bedroom.
Police say not just playing video games, but trying to beat her record level, officers say. In the process, missing those attempts to check in on her. But we're told Thankful police came out.
They had a 911. They're trying to get grandma's up. We don't know what's happening to her. She's just locked in her bedroom playing videos, trying to break her high score.
In Westlake, I'm News 5 investigator Scott Knoll.
That's hilarious. And thank God it was a good scenario, a happy ending there. But 91 playing videos. I didn't know that 91-year-olds played video games. I couldn't even imagine that. But how funny. What a story. And another piece of news. Again, it's good news. Some of this stuff, you got to have a chuckle. You got to have a good laugh every now and then. All the things happening in the world, we make sure we bring you some of those stories you won't get anywhere else. Coming up, the delusion is strong. Some of these folks have completely lost it, and I'm going to prove it coming up in the after show. Tell you what to do about it, too. Don't miss that. The show after the show. Facebook, Twitter, X, Rumble, Getter, Locals, YouTube, and yes, the iHeartRadio app, wherever you download your podcast. Make it a great one, folks. God bless.
Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses. We forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil. God is the kingdom, power, and glory forever and ever. Amen. Amen.
Coming up at top of the hour, the news and the latest warning. Evacuate immediately south of Croton Dam along the Muskegon River in Newaygo. The details on that and more coming up. Thanks to the folks at Talon Wealth for powering the show today and every day. No matter whether you want to retire today, tomorrow, 10, 20 years down the road, look, you need somebody in your corner. Somebody that knows what they're doing, takes a holistic approach. That's Talon Wealth. When you go to guardingyournestegg.com, Mike Lester and the team will walk you through what you need to know to make sure you can get to where you want to go and when you want to get there. Call them today at 616-661-1000 or go to guardingyournestegg.com today.
WOOD Grand Rapids, WOOD FM Muskegon. The news is next on Wood Radio.
An iHeart radio station.
Guaranteed human.
It's time. All right. Stand by. Stand by for news. Quick little do a quick little transition here, and then we will get into the after show, folks. The show after the show. Get ready to strap in. It's going to be a heck of a ride. It's like drinking from a fire hose. Never a dull moment, but yes, you'll hear the stories you won't hear anywhere else, and we appreciate you being here with us for them today. I'm Justin Barclay. Now, welcome to the after show, the show after the show. Never a dull moment. Try to make sure everything is covered today. We're going to get into it. And if look, I'm telling you, the warfare is ramping up. Not just what we're seeing play out in Iran, but social media, the psychological push as we move into the midterms, 2028 and beyond. But there's also something else that's happening. We have a spiritual fight on our hands, too, and I think that should be evidenced. It's never been more clear to me, anyway, by what some of the things we're watching play out. I'm going to get to those on the way. But first, if you haven't shared the program yet today, I'm going to thank you for doing that. You help us break the algorithm, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, X, Rumble, Getter, Locals, YouTube. We want to make sure somebody wins something cool from the Justin store. You can go to justinbarclay.com/store and grab all kinds of cool stuff. Tees, hoodies, mugs, you name it. We got all of these great goodies and gear inside the store. You can buy them now. Take some of that refund check, right, and go buy a couple of things. You know, support the program if you like. You're more than welcome to. But if you click share, we're going to put you in the running. And you could be a big winner, like somebody that we draw each and every day. So at the end of the program, we'll do just that, draw another winner, and make sure we take care of you. Always appreciate your support each and every day to help us. Sharing is caring. That's what we tell the kids. Sharing is caring. So we'll have a little sharing is caring happening here on the program today. Let's get into those stories that matter most, and some of these pieces we didn't get a chance to talk about. All right, the delusion is strong. The delusion is strong, folks. It's so strong that there is a mass effort. I've even seen news, but I've also seen influencers repeat talking points and share things that are deliberate propaganda pieces from the Iranian government, from our enemies, from China, from Russia. Always get a chance. You always see it. And unfortunately, it's happening more and more and more nowadays. People who are certainly pro-China, the brains are broken. Their minds have been bent in a way that I've never seen it before. And all I can say is that those that have ears to hear and eyes to see will see these things, and it will be no. I just don't know, though, if I show this stuff to you, if you're going to say, it's almost like, remember in 2020 where you would like see things, they'd come out and say, you gotta wear a mask, until you get to your table, and then you can sit down at the table with them and take the mask off. Huh? How does that make any sense? Well, this is what they said. And so many people would say, sure, yeah. Oh, no problem. Yeah, no problem. Absolutely, let's do that. And then there were people that, and maybe even you were one of them, that said, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Doesn't take something that doesn't fly there. You're on an airplane. Got to wear your mask unless you're drinking or you're eating. Some people would pull the mask down and just constantly have that water there and just go. And that's hilarious. That was kind of the way it got. And by the way, that was okay. You could do that because we kind of knew, and then it got to the point where they sort of fought it, but then eventually they just let go and they said, all right, you're fine. So for some of us, you're going to see these things obvious and you're going to go, okay, something's really wrong here. Something's super off. It just doesn't add up. So that's what I want to warn. There is a great delusion underway. It might even be the great delusion, folks. I don't know. All I know is that I see this and I just leaves me scratching my head going, I get, you know what? I could be wrong. I could be the one that's wrong. In fact, somebody in the chat earlier said that this show keeps getting more delusional each day. Is it? Is it us? Is it me? Maybe it is. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just us. Maybe we're the problem. Or is it possible you could have been influenced? Now, Jason says, I'm guilty. He's guilty, he says, of spreading propaganda for MyPillow. Always, when Jason does this, I always have to add a caveat because he's such a great supporter. I'll tell him. That's right. MyPillow, mypillow.com/Justin. Thank you, Jason, for for adding in the prop. I also am guilty for sharing the propaganda for MyPillow. MyPillow.com/Justin. MyStore.com/Justin. 80% off some stuff and free shipping. That's right, Jason. And their Easter sale's underway. They got the coffee and all the great stuff. Help support Mike and the program at the same time. And use promo code Justin. MyPillow.com, MyStore.com/Justin. A shameless plug. And it's all Jason's fault, by the way. So here's so many things constantly coming at you every day. If you don't do things, a couple of things. Number one, start your day each day in the Word. Why? So that you have it firmly rooted, the Word, the truth, firmly rooted in your brain. You've got to be constantly renewing of your mind. Every day you have to renew. Every day when you wake up, you've got to get in the whatever that looks like.
It could be a chapter of Proverbs a day. You could be going through the Bible in a year. You could do whatever it is, Psalms, whatever it is that you like, whatever you felt led to do, but get in the Bible, get the word as a foundation. Know it, because what happens is if you don't, people are going to use it. They are going to use it to their advantage and to twist it. There is a warning from the Pope about this today, although methinks he might be doing the very thing that he's accusing others of doing. Now, that's not to condemn Catholics, because there are a lot of great Catholics that had to suffer through a lot of popes who are questionable in recent days, particularly, who just understand that when these people talk, and they do, with, political bias and meaning, and I think what we might be watching right now is one of the greatest setups of all time. But when they do what they do, there's a difference between what they're talking about politically and then what they talk about with the faith. But here's Pope Leo today, earlier this morning. Woe to those who manipulate religion and the very name of God for their own military, economic, and political gain, dragging that which is sacred into darkness and filth. This is the Pope who wants Americans to be overrun with illegal immigrants, yet the gates at the Vatican remain locked. Why do they have walls at the Vatican? Can we answer that question? This is the same guy who said, Lord won't hear your prayers if you're engaged in war. Won't hear your prayers. Okay, did you not crack the Bible and read parts? I mean, the entire book of Psalms. You got all through it King David, who is the author of many of them, writing and talking about coming to his aid in these battles, in these fights. So what are we missing? Well, a lot, in fact. We're talking about a lot that's missing. And people don't know it. They don't realize it because they aren't firmly rooted in it. Now, I recognized the minute he wrote that first message that he was wrong. That what he was saying didn't meet what's scripturally accurate. And it's because I've got it in me. I've got it in me. I know. I've got the scripture in me. I've got the word in me. Get the word in you. Read it every day so that when you come into these things, you know immediately, is this as real or not? Is this true or not? Because this is just the beginning, folks. He's all for illegal immigration. Then I guess he's all for the responsibility that he bears for stories like this one.
Loyola student Sheridan Gorman back in court. A grand jury has indicted him on first-degree murder. Jose Medina allegedly shot Sheridan as she walked with her friends in Chicago's lakefront area last month.
Do you know there's more details? This guy, not only should he never have been here, but the Pope would like him to just walk around. Why doesn't the Vatican take him in? Come right into the country, no problem. Not only that, let him sleep in the Pope's house.
In their statement, Sheridan's family saying, quote, our focus remains on Sheridan, who she was, what she meant to us, and what was taken from her. If there's any purpose to be found in this loss, it is that no other family should have to endure what we are living through right now. No. Correspondent Garrett Tenney reporting live from Chicago. Hi, Garrett.
Hey, Martha, Jose Medina limped into the courtroom this afternoon for a status hearing where his attorney had a lot of requests for the court, telling the judge that Medina needs a cane due to a spinal injury and that he requires surgery to remove a bullet fragment that's lodged in his nasal cavity from when he was shot in the head back in 2018, since it's causing him headaches. The judge granted those requests and ordered Medina to provide a DNA sample to state police. We're also learning new details about how Medina was released into the country by the Biden administration. According to internal Border Patrol documents shared by the House Judiciary Committee.
Listen to this.
When Medina was caught crossing the border in Texas back in 2023, he didn't have any form of identification. He admitted he didn't have a valid asylum claim and told Border Patrol he didn't have any fear or safety concerns about being returned to Venezuela. At the time, officers noted he was likely going to disappear into the country if he was released. But in line with the Biden administration's policies, Medina was released. And as predicted, he disappeared and never showed up for his immigration hearings. Fast forward almost 3 years later, prosecutors say the Venezuelan national ambushed college freshman Sheridan Gorman, shooting and killing her as she tried to run away.
She'd be alive today if it weren't for those Democrat policies, the globalist policies of this Pope. Love immigrants, illegal immigrants. Bring them in. Bring them into the Vatican. Why not? What you're watching, folks, is a campaign. It is orchestrated. It is very shrewd. And it is critical that people be aware that it's happening. It is psychological warfare, and I believe warfare on a spiritual nature like we've never seen before. At the same time, we got Obama's folks meeting with the Pope, which just happened, trying to set up a meeting with Obama, in fact, with the Pope. Why would Obama... Hear me out here. Why would Obama... He's not Catholic. Why would he ever want to meet with a Pope? Good question. Good question. What are they setting up? It's a political hit behind the scenes trying to target Trump. I think it'll backfire, but I'm just telling you right now, that's where they're headed in the midterms. And you got to ask yourself, why are we seeing all the delusion, all these people lined up to say the same thing? In fact, look, yes, we need to talk about this, fight it in the way of telling people what's happening. But the other piece is we got to pray for these people. And Tucker's one of them. This is a guy. I mean, I don't know about you. What happened to Tucker? Love this guy. You know what? I still, I'm not going to say I don't love Tucker. I still do. Because you know what? I don't know where his heart is. I don't know where he's at. I think certainly he's, at least it seems as though he's been pulled in a certain direction. But this latest video talking about the Antichrist and almost wondering, it sounds like Tucker's kind of wondering, like, is the Antichrist Trump?
Now, a king who will do as he pleases. He will exalt and magnify himself above every god and will say unheard of things against the God of gods. He will be successful until the time of wrath is completed, for what has been determined must take place. It's all ordained, in other words, preordained. He will show no regard for the gods of his ancestors, nor will he regard any god, but will exalt himself above them all. So to a lot of Christians or people who know the Bible well and believe in it, these predictions in both the Old and the New Testament, and there are others, seem to fit what we were watching. Here's a leader who's mocking the gods of his ancestors, mocking the God of gods, and
That's opinion, though. Trump wasn't doing that.
Exalting himself above them. Could this be the Antichrist? Well, who knows? At least that's my conclusion.
Excuse me? That's, by the way, that's not just a casual, like, well, we don't know. No, that's him saying, yes, this is, he's trying to do damage to Trump. This is delusion. You got to call it out. And brother, please, get back on track. Read your Bible. Find out where the Antichrist actually comes from. It's not America. To say that Trump is somebody that is mocking God, that couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, he's given credit to God for his survival that day in Butler. How far have we come that you just forget about that? How about Trump talking about the boss, a big boss? Remember that when he was talking about that? He said, I don't know if I'm going to get into heaven. That doesn't sound like somebody who thinks he exalts himself higher than all else. No, that doesn't sound like so. In fact, He just read scripture at Easter. John 3:16, the first time any president has ever done that. For God so loved the world that he sent his only begotten son. Whosoever believes on him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. He read that at Easter. Does that sound like the Antichrist? Here's Trump delivering marks at a Carolina rally. Watch what the flags do on the back when he talks about Jesus and God.
You still need help from the boss. We need help from the boss. That's what happened. We need help.
You know, he pointed to himself saying, I need that too. By the way, this is old. This is like the first term.
Yeah, we need help. It's all right to say it. Now, they'll criticize me for that. How dare he say that? How dare he say that? No, I'll say it.
Does this sound like the Antichrist, folks?
I'll say it. I'll say it. Somebody said to me the other day, you're the most famous person in the world by far. I said, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. They said, yes, you are. I said, no. They said, who's more famous? I said, Jesus Christ. I'm not taking any chances. I'm not going to have an argument. Hey, I'm not having any arguments. Jesus Christ. I'm not going to take any chances. I'll give it, I guarantee. And let me look up and I'll say, and it's not even close.
Nancy, I don't think Trump's ever said he's not a Christian. Before you type, I want to give you something else. And please just receive this with love. Before you just type something and put it into the world, make sure you check your sources. Because, somebody might read that and then they'd be pulled astray. And, maybe he is the Antichrist. Well, I don't think so. In fact, the Bible's pretty clear on who this is. So pray for Tucker. Certainly pray for the president each and every day we're supposed to. But these people that have gone so far off the reservation, it's bad. Why? Because they're pulling people with them. You gotta pray for these people. I don't know if they mean it. I don't know if they're just delusional because they've been deceived. I don't know what happened. I don't know. I really don't. It's hard for me to, maybe they took money. Maybe they just see things differently. I don't know. I like to believe the best in people, that they just see things differently, and unfortunately they're being pulled astray by people. But I don't know. Anyway, let's dig in, if we can, to some wise words from the Supreme Court. One of the wisest men in the land, the Supreme Court Justice Thomas, talking about people and doomers, gloomers, black pillars. And by the way, folks, the demoralization process that's underway in the country, not just a psychological operation, but the spiritual attack as well. This is a piece of it. This is how he recommends we fight it.
I think if we don't stand up and take ownership of our country and take responsible for it, we are slowly letting others control how we think and what we think. Mm-hmm. I think the beauty of going to school is that you learn how to think for yourselves. You develop the discipline to think things through. If you think it's losing confidence, then you get up and you participate. You don't sit on the sidelines. Yeah. You think that the state is being run and inconsistent with how you feel, then you get up and you participate. You prepare yourself. If you think that the medical profession is not right, well, you become a doctor or be a medical person, and you deal with that. I think we need to take ownership of our country. It's our country. I think if we...
What is Grok, by the way? Let's just look back. I'm going to do the research. What has Grok said about President Trump? Just so we can put this thing to rest real quick. Has Trump ever said he's not a Christian? No, Donald Trump has not explicitly said I'm not a Christian. Any clear, unambiguous statement. He has repeatedly identified as Christian, including as Presbyterian, his upbringing. A lot of people don't know this, but he went to church as a kid. And that church in New York City, he went with his parents. You can see, in fact, I'm going to be doing some work on this in the future, but it will tell you exactly who Trump is, what his foundation was. Late as a kid, he sat in this church and heard these teachings. And then I believe the answers to what is needed, I think, to turn this country in the tide. Because I think now more than ever we could use it. But in 2015, Grok says during his first campaign, he described himself as a Protestant Presbyterian, saying he goes to church, loves God, and loves his church. In response to Pope Francis questioning his faith in 2016, Trump said, "But I am a Christian, and I'm proud of it." In 2020, he stated he no longer identified as strictly as Presbyterian, but as non-denominational. He's spoken positively about his faith in multiple contexts, such as claiming God saved his life after an assassination attempt and participating in Christian events. So I don't know what you've seen or what you think you've seen that said Trump isn't a Christian. Please, and this is not just this particular subject, but it's with everything. Make sure you fact check. Make sure you source it. Make sure you go to I want to see the original. I mean, even when we're looking at videos and things, like it could be AI or it could be, let's see where it came from. Let's look at the context of everything. Yeah, that's true, Nancy. Maybe it could have been an AI video. I don't know. But I wanted to put that to bed because it's stuff like this. These seeds that are sown. The enemy knows exactly what they're trying to do. And I'm not just talking about in the spiritual. I'm talking about in the propaganda war we're facing too. So the idea is they want you to disengage, think that there's nothing that you can do, think that I can trust no one, think that there's nobody's going to tell me the truth. I can't go anywhere. I just unplug, walk away. That's the demoralization campaign that the Soviet Union put into play back in the 80s and maybe even further back. And we're watching it sort of come into fruition right now. What can you do to protect yourself? Number one, get yourself in the Word each and every day. Make sure you have a solid foundation of the truth, the truth. Pray. Ask God. Now, praying, you can say, yes, I'm praying, I'm talking, I'm asking for things, but ask and then listen. Prayer is partially talking, yes, but listening, maybe even the bigger piece of it. God, what's the answer here? He'll point you in the right direction. You will start to see and experience that discernment. You got to know. You got to know. So, all right, let me, if I can, give you one last thing, which is be okay to be unplugged. Every now and then, take a moment if you need to step away and do just that. Maybe we'll do more on this later on. Just wanted to give you, I think, one of the pieces that needs to be. Now, yesterday during the Maha update, we played, speaking of fake news, this is exactly how it works. Yesterday during the Maha update, we played that funny audio of the podcast, Dr. Oz and Donald Trump Jr. talking about his father, the president, and how he loves Diet Coke, and how he kind of jokes about, well, Diet Coke kills grass, so Diet Coke's going to kill cancer. So now they're out there trying to manufacture a story that says that President Trump believes Diet Coke kills cancer, because that's going to be the next bleach, the rest. These crazies. This is how these stories start, by the way. Karen Levitt puts this to rest in a mass.
Secretary. First of all, there was an interview that Dr. Mehmet Oz did recently where he described the president's views on his own diet. He said that he argued that diet soda is good for him because it kills grass. And if you pour it onto the grass, the mouse is killed and it therefore must kill cancer cells. I'm wondering if you can, was this sort of an accurate description of how the president sees?
Look, as we all know in this room, I think you know the president has a very good sense of humor. It's one of his most underreported characteristics, I would say. I have heard him tell this joke before. I think the Wall Street Journal should get a better sense of humor.
Yeah.
And then another one for you.
Absolutely. Get a better sense of humor. I mean, obviously it's a joke. And I will say this is the thing that they miss more than anything else, is the guy is a jokester. Now, he doesn't want the public to see a lot of that. He doesn't want the public to see him laughing or smiling or having a time, because he's got to keep that tough sort of demeanor, right? That's what makes him effective in the negotiations and the deals, etc. But he's very so much, from everything I've seen and heard, has that side of him. But do you know how the press works? This is all part of the delusion, folks. They'll use it and they'll twist it, and that is the tactic of the enemy every time. Every single time, without any sort of hesitation. Congratulations to SJ today. SJ winning our gear out of the store. Now, if there's something special or specific you're looking for, let me know, SJ. But send me an email and I'll get you taken care of today for sharing the show. Sharing is caring. Appreciate you as always. We're back tomorrow with more and nonstop updates throughout the day. If you haven't done it yet, sign up for the good newsletters. You can stay in touch. I'll be sharing some more thoughts on how to make sure you're getting the truth in these trying times. Well, no matter what the headlines say, my reminder to you each and every day is that God is still on the throne. Ultimately, the best good news ever. Healthwithjustin.com. We had a great episode yesterday with Maha Missy and the updates you won't want to miss. Go to healthwithjustin.com to find out how you can save big. And you're giving you like 20% off right now. Healthwithjustin.com or call 269-964-4044. Make it a great one. God bless.
I'm Dr. Kirk Elliott, founder of Kirk Elliott Precious Metals. After being in the industry for more than a decade, I knew there was a better way. It's an exciting time to invest in gold and silver with the most significant bull market I've ever seen. But please don't overpay for your stuff. At KEPM, we focus on low-cost bullion only, and we don't charge a commission when you sell. We would love to connect with you, so call our office at 720-605-3900
or go to goldwithjustin.com today.